And the most transformative thing you could ever do is prove to yourself that you're significantly more capable than you thought you were. Proving to yourself you are far more brave than you thought you were. And even if you take a beating on the way out of that comfort zone, even if you take an emotional sort of roller coaster on your way out, you're going to come out the other side. Rather than if you never tried, you would be stuck in that same sort of loop. And what happens is people think if they wait enough, that these destructive sort of cycles and mental patterns are just going to sort of change on their own. But they're not. Getting out is going to be frustrating. It's going to be sticky. It's going to feel weird. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be tense. And that's what actually existing and breaking through to emotional freedom actually feels like. People will stay in their room or their home or in their comfort zone, whatever it is, for however many years, acting in avoidance. And that's not even the main problem. The main problem is that they don't even see how the loop keeps happening. They don't see that their behaviors that they're participating in right now are fueling that loop. It's not some thing outside of us that has placed us in this sort of circular, energetic, behavioral pattern. No, not at all. It's our inability to break through the momentum of that pattern because it's so easy to follow along in that cycle and just let it keep taking us for a loop and spiral. We get motivation to do something and then we're met with that wall of fear again and we give up and so it repeats and repeats and repeats and we find ways to cope. We find ways to deal with it. We find ways to make peace with the fact that we're not satisfied with the amount of effort we're putting into breaking free in our life. And when that dissatisfaction with our own sort of participation comes into effect, that's when the self-pity, that's when the hyper critical mindset starts to be embodied. It's because we know deep down that we're capable of more. And if we're allowing a wall of fear to stop us, then we're allowing our own self to get in the way of our life. And we know it should take more to stop our momentum than just a bit of fear. We can think back to all of the bravery that has existed in humanity and we can draw inspiration from it. And it doesn't mean that past people's and other people's bravery is more significant than ours. But it means in whatever way necessary, we need to stand up to the challenge and we need to meet the requirements in which will create emotional liberation and happiness in our lives. And if that means overcoming fear, which it almost always does, we have to put on our sort of boots and we need to go into this battle. I'm not very big on the whole notion of battles in the mind and all of that and an inner enemy. I'm not really big on that. But there is a sort of, I guess, bravery that is needed to break through cycles that can only be had through, I guess, perceiving the other end of this momentum as a battle. If you didn't need to perceive it as such, you probably would already be free of it. And there's a reason people sort of paint this idea of an inner enemy within them, because that wall of fear, that sort of energy, that emotion, it's hard to put into words. It's hard to sort of wrap our minds around it, so we personify it. The problem is that later becomes a part of ourselves that we dislike, when in reality, it's not actually a part of ourselves. It's just an emotion that everyone deals with. And the more we cower away from fear, the more we allow that wall of fear to, you know, turn us around and have us walk the other way back to where we came from, the more the wall grows and more powerful it becomes. And what's amazing is you only have to walk through it once to significantly lower the height of that wall. You only have to walk through it once. The amount of times you're turned around and you walk away from it, that slowly builds up the wall of fear and makes it more powerful. But the minute you just walk straight through it, no matter how uncomfortable, how awkward, how tense, how frustrating, no matter how any of these things are portrayed, but you actually walk through that wall of fear, you significantly lessen the power of it. And then you do it a few more times and you feel liberated. That's how it works. The hardest part is just moving through it. And actually doing the thing itself isn't going to be hard at all. And I'm sure as you're listening and even as I'm talking, there's a particular situation, there's a particular series of behaviors that maybe come to mind or a particular situation in your life where this methodology applies. And this is going to change and change form over our lives. And we have to make sure that we're not giving any power to the situation, but we're actually understanding that it's that same wall of fear manifesting in all different sorts of situations and experiences in our lives. It may show itself in one way right now, but later in life, it's going to show itself in a different way. So if we don't conquer fear as an emotion, it's going to continue to sort of pop up in all these different areas of our life.